There are about 40,000 short-term rentals around Disney right now. The ones that stay booked aren't the fanciest, they're in the right community, and they give a family a reason to pick them. Buy in the wrong spot or blend in with everyone else, and your Orlando Airbnb sits empty while the house down the street books solid. So here's exactly where these homes are, which communities I recommend, and how to make the one that gets booked. The stuff I wished every out-of-state buyer knew before they made an offer. I'm talking today with my friend Bruce Woodburn from Cross Country Mortgage.
I'm thinking, when I think of short-term rental, because I live in Central Florida, like we've got Reunion, Champions Gate, Davenport, these are short-term rental hot markets. Tell me a little bit about them, and are they the right places to go?
Gosh, that's a broad question. So ultimately, all the rentals are in Four Corners,
right?
And anyone outside of Orlando doesn't know what that means, but it's where Orange, Osceola Lake, and Polk County come together.
Okay.
And Disney's right at that point, right? So all of the short-term rentals are either in Osceola or Polk.
Okay.
Lake allows short-term rental, but there's no resorts there. So all the short-term rental resorts you're going to come across are in those two counties. Orange County does not allow short-term rentals. There's a couple stipulations. We won't get into that, but basically you can't short-term
The bulk of yours are in the Four Corners. Absolutely. And that's where Lake, Osceola, Polk, and Orange come together.
Correct.
But Orange is really not your target. It's not even in play. No. Okay. So now when we think of Champions Gate and Reunion, are these the primary places that people to go to, or what's the deal with that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's many more. So those are two of the premier ones. And they're I wouldn't say they're very different, those two specifically, but I've got 6 or 8 that I normally are my go-to, depending on what an owner wants out of it, how they're going to use it, what the expectations are. But there's literally dozens and dozens of, depending on what you want.
Are you familiar with each of these communities?
I'm in and out of them all the time. So there's a lot that I don't normally recommend because I know they're not going to cash flow. If you're buying just on price and you want the cheapest point of entry and you're not really going to short-term rental it, you just want it for personal use, I might direct you to some of the other communities. But my bread and butter, there's about 6 or 8 of them.
So now you've got the map. 6 or 8 communities I actually recommend, all hugging Disney. Which one is right for you comes down to one thing: how you're going to use it. A family that comes down a few times a year needs a different house than somebody chasing pure cash flow. So before you fall for a pretty listing, let me show you what actually matters once you're inside one of these resorts.
Is Disney still the king attraction that people are coming here for?
100%. Obviously, Universal Epic opened up a year ago this month.
Did that cause a surge?
Actually. It did. We saw, rental spike, but Universal is in Orange County, which is a little bit of a drive still from the attraction, the area where all the Airbnbs
20 minutes, 25 minutes, maybe?
On a good day. Yeah. A little bit more sometimes because there's really one way in, one way out. You got to go up the main interstate I-4. And that can be brutal sometimes. And they're working on widening it as we speak. And whether that's going to provide real relief or not, but that stretch from a little bit south of Disney all the way through, Universal area is really just jam-packed, both directions, east and west, every day.
Right. Yep. I know. I've driven it, and going out to Davenport, Champions Gate. Yeah. But Disney still is the primary. We've got Universal, you have SeaWorld,
Legoland, and then people come to go to Tampa for the beaches. They go to Nassau to watch the space launch. They might still stay in Orlando. They might go out on a cruise port out of Canaveral or Tampa, and stay here and make a whole thing of it.
Well, I'm going to get into some of the reasons that people do this, because I want to really find out if there is, who's buying them, and is there still a good ROI on your investment? Sure. So What should an investor specifically look for when buying a short-term rental property? Is it the best home size? Is it the spa and the pool? Is it the game rooms? Are they themed? Is it the HOA restrictions? Is it the age of the home? Is it the proximity to the clubhouse or to the parks? Tell me a little bit about that.
The answer is yes.
To every one of those.
Everyone. So again, my first question is, how are you going to use it? Are you going to use it personally because you and your kids come here 3 or 4 times a year and you're trying to offset costs? Is it a strict, are you looking to park some money, or are you looking for cash flow?
Right.
And that I not that I would necessarily direct you in a different direction based on your answer, but I need to know that based on your budget and all those things. But all of those things
they play into the need of each individual.
Absolutely. If you have, what I tell people is check as many of those boxes as you can.
Right.
Be in the right community. The closest you can get to Disney, the better. And then once you're in that community, get closest to the amenity center as you can. And after that, make sure to try and get a south-facing pool.
That makes sense, because if you're staying in an Airbnb, a lot of them have pools, I'm assuming.
All of them.
They all have pools, but there may be an amenity center there that has a lazy river within their own park.
100%.
And not just Reunion has lazy rivers and amenities. They all do.
Several of them. Yeah.
They all do.
Yeah.
But some have, you've got to identify what that family's needs are to be able to determine which communities, because I know this, most of these are investors. Okay. They're investors looking to put their money somewhere to either offset their vacation costs,
right,
or to have cash flow coming in. And so everyone's got their own reason for wanting it. One may want to buy a 9-bedroom home. One may say, hey, I need a 4-bedroom home just to accommodate my family when I'm there 3 times a year, right?
Here's what trips up first-time buyers. Every one of these homes has a pool. So a pool doesn't make you special. It's the bare minimum in this environment. What sets your house apart is the amenity center, how close you are to the theme parks, and the big one, how you actually run it. You can buy the perfect house and still bleed money if you treat it like a hands-off investment.
One thing that I stress to people the most that have never owned a rental or a short-term rental is they've got a friend or a family member that's doing it and they love it and they're making lots of money and they want in, right? Real estate's not a short-term quick get rich quick thing. So first off, I'm going to tell them you have to run it like a business. That's my biggest piece of advice. If you don't, because it's based on consumer reviews, everything's review based anymore. You can't order a sandwich without leave me a 5-star review, right? So reviews can crush you. So that's probably my number one is, if you're not going to run this like a business, if you're going to treat it like a passive investment and not be involved, don't do this.
Don't do it.
I've literally talked people out of buying these and go buy another type of investment vehicle, whether it's maybe a long-term rental or something else.
Which can work easily for a lot of people.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, but really a lot of it has to do with their budget. How much money do you want to spend? Because you've got units from 550 to what, 3 million?
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I mean, I've stayed in some before where we've done conventions and they have to be a 15-bedroom home. They got bowling alleys in them.
Right.
They've got, I mean, they're decked out,
Yeah.
right? Multiple kitchens sometimes. So it really depends on what your budget is and what you plan on doing with it. What about self-managing it? Do you recommend people do that, or do you recommend a management company?
I never recommend self-managing unless you already currently are in the short-term business.
Right.
What I tell people though, I do have some great property managers that I love and I rely on.
You trust them?
I trust them that they're going to handle my clients professionally. And I give them business, but at the same time, I tell people, hey, look, let them do the hard, heavy lifting up front. Let them teach you how to get this up and running, put all the systems in place, the door locks, the thermostat locks, the alarms, the cameras, the automatic pool heat. Let them do all that. Let them set up your landing pages, social media.
So they'll even help you with that, so you can get more.
Sure.
You can get more bookings.
Yeah. So you want to be as broad as possible. You don't want to just be on Airbnb. There's booking.com and other countries have other things besides Airbnb that you can book through. So you have to know all those intricacies too of because, and this is where a lot of people get stuck. They think, I'm an American, I live in Utah, and I'm going to own, that Americans are my customer. And that's just not the case. We have so many international travelers here. So there's a lot of nuances that come along with that on how to run your business. So a property manager works through all that. They already have those things in place. Hiring a cleaning crew is absolutely vital, that the cleaning crew is on point, because again, if you're in Ohio and own a short-term rental in Orlando, you're not looking at it. You don't get to see it after every guest checks out. So that cleaning crew and that property manager are your eyes and ears, and they're your general manager of your business. So having them on your side and doing all the right things is crucial. But I, on the flip side of that, I do tell people, hey, learn from them, pay attention to what they're doing. And then in a year from now, if everything's going good and you got some free time, or your wife or your husband or your kids want to get in the managing business and save that 15 or 20%,
that's fine.
That's
but you better learn from them first, is what you're saying.
100%.
Because if you're not in that business, you don't know what people are looking for. And the last thing you want is to have something so trivial as a leaky faucet that somebody got irritated with because they could hear it dripping from their bedroom. And then they give you a bad review, and that could could cost you thousands of dollars.
You're done. My property manager just the other day gave me a great little
tip.
And he said one of the biggest things that he just discovered recently, and he's been doing this for a long time, he said, if your cancellation policy is 30 days in advance or more, you're not going to book your house. He switched to a 5-day cancellation fee. So meaning 5 days before your trip, you can cancel with no fees.
Not 30 days.
Not 30 days. And his bookings shot through the roof he did a test side by side with the same, like one guy owned 2 homes. He's like, let's test this. Same house, same number of bedrooms, same community, everything. One, he did a 30-day cancellation. One, he did a 5-day cancellation. The one with 5 days went through the roof as soon as he clicked that.
Now, before we get to the part that wins or loses you bookings, get organized. I built a free guide called the Smart Investors Playbook. The communities I recommend, what to look for, and how to stand out all in one place. So go ahead and scan the QR code on your screen or grab it in the link below. All right, now let's talk about how you make a family stop scrolling and book your house.
What's the hottest community right now?
Story Lake.
What's the average nightly rental rate?
Impossible.
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 It's
too many different sizes, communities.
It's not
too many
able.
Variables.
You'll never know.
Yeah.
So call you. You'll find out.
Right.
Can you direct them to somebody that does the bookings too?
Absolutely. So that'd be a property manager. And again, I've got different ones that.
Do you link them to your website?
I do not, but personally,
might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, probably
might not be a bad idea. What's one feature that dramatically increases bookings? We just talked about one of them that you just found out about, the shorter term cancellation. Right. What's one other thing that really dramatically increases bookings?
I'm going to say, and this really, there's a couple, but I'm going to say running it like a business is number one.
Okay.
If you don't run it like a business, it doesn't matter what kind of house you have, how fancy it is, how well it's themed out, where it's located.
That means your website, your bookings, the condition of the home, right? Make sure everything's fixed. You've got to know your market, who's renting, where are we getting these people from? But that place has got to be spectacular because they've got a lot of options and you want them to choose you. How about what's important about themed rooms? So I've been to some of these. You got Star Wars, you got dolls, you got girls' rooms, boys' rooms, you got game rooms. Are themed rooms worth it?
Absolutely. I personally believe they're vital because there's about 40,000 short-term rentals in Orlando, Kissimmee, Davenport, those cities that are surrounding Disney. So that's a lot of units you're competing with. And some of them are, a condo's not going to compete with the 9-bedroom, obviously, but with that many units, people have a lot of choices. And what they're doing is they're sitting on their couch in Ohio saying, hey, we're going to Disney next month, and they're just swiping.
Right.
And something's got to catch their eye, right? How are they filtering it? Are they filtering it by location, by price, or by photos? Maybe all three. But when they see my kid's into Star Wars or my daughter loves Elsa Frozen, they're going to look for a house that has that. They might even type those keywords into Google and say, Elsa Frozen House Orlando Airbnb.
You've got to be kidding me. It
No.
gets that specific.
Absolutely.
Now, what about, say I wanted to rent one and I want to bring family in and they're mostly all adults. Do you get people that don't want the theme rooms or they just don't care?
There's certainly a market for that, but that is not your overwhelming majority. Your overwhelming majority is going to the theme parks. Sure, there's going to be people that, Reunion is a good example of that. Reunion, I would say you don't need a themed bedroom, but if you do, that's totally fine, depending on how many bedrooms you have in the house. If it's 5 bedroom versus a 12 bedroom.
You don't think a themed room would dissuade somebody from going? Like, I wouldn't care. It wouldn't mean anything to me as an adult if I slept in a Star Wars bedroom, right? But it would mean something to a family with kids that are here to see Star Wars at Disney World.
Lots of ways to look at that. Like, so I just mentioned Reunion. It's a lot of, golf buddies. They might bring 6, 7, 8 guys down for a golf weekend. They are not going to sleep in a Batman room or a Frozen room, right? So they're gonna look for one that's not themed. But the majority of the resorts, you're trying to cater to someone in specific. And I just toured a house the other day with my video guy, and we saw this amazing. And again, some of these themes are overdone, right? Unless you're going to use your imagination to the fullest, don't phone it in. You got to go full board. But this room was amazing. It was 2 bedrooms. They took the wall down in between, made it one big room, hand built a double bunk bed. The bunk beds were queen size mattresses.
No kidding.
And she said a lot of the reviews I get are the parents are sleeping in the bed with their kid. So
and you couldn't do that in a regular bunk bed.
I've never seen that before, because most bunk beds, you want kids get their own bed. Right. And not only was it a queen size bed, so that could happen, but each individual bed had its own TV. And again, usually the TVs are like, I got to look over there. If I'm in a bunk bed, where do you put the TV on the wall? And every room has a TV, by the way, and just every single bedroom has a TV. So the kids' rooms, it's hard to, where's the plug, where's the cable, all that stuff. And most of the time there's 1 or 2 of the beds that you have to stretch. Well, this one had so
how convenient is that?
The reviews you're going to get from that are amazing, because I got to sleep in a bed with my daughter and she had the greatest time because we watched Frozen on her own individual TV. And if you can go that little extra mile, they weren't big TVs. They were only,
doesn't matter. You don't need it. You're only 4 feet away from it.
Yeah. So it was, you got to do something unique and special and memorable to make them remember you and go home back to Utah and say, we had the most amazing time. It was incredible. You got to see the pictures, and then they're going to post it online and hopefully tag your house, because most people name their house like Bruce's big adventure house or whatever. Right. But
it'd have to be a country theme for me.
But you want them to tag your house, and then that's free marketing. So if you just have a regular house that's appealing to regular people that aren't there for a theme, they're not going to be the ones leaving you glowing reviews, because most of those people they're here for a wedding party.
They don't care.
A funeral. They're going on a cruise. They don't really care about the theming, but they're also probably not going to be your best customer, right?
Yeah, and they may not even leave a review.
Go where your biggest audience is.
Now, this right here is where all of the bookings are won. Picture a mom on her couch in Ohio, kids begging to go to Disney. She types Elsa Frozen House Orlando Airbnb straight into Google. If your house is the one that pops up, you've most likely won before price ever comes up. So if you theme it, go all in. A half-done theme is worse than none, and point it at the family. They're the ones who rebook, leave reviews, and tag your house and market it for free. So that's the whole game down here. Buy in the right community, run it like a business, and theme it for the family that's actually booking. Get those 3 right, and your calendar stays full while the empty houses pile up for sale. If you're serious about owning one, here's your next step. Grab my Smart Investors Playbook. It's free. The link's on the QR code on the screen or in the description, or you can easily just call or text me at 321-439-4277. That's my real phone number. I answer it, I text it, nights, weekends, holidays. I am here for you. And of course, subscribe to my channel On the House, where I tour these communities and bring homes in person to you so you can see them before you ever fly down or travel here. You bring the questions, I'll bring the answers, and as always, all this information is on the house.